So I'd like to introduce you to Dick, and his story is Never Say Can't.
Good evening. Thank you. The rest will be here momentarily. Never say can't. Junior high, puberty, falling in love. Tough times for all of us. Some 90 years ago, my 18-year-old mother, a beautiful woman, gave birth to me as the nation fell into the Great Depression. For some reason, she sent me off to school when I was only 4. I was behind the other kids. Rosalind Koenig, my classmate, had to tie my shoes every morning. When I got to the 4th grade, I found myself in a class of children with learning disabilities. And I remember my mother slapping and kicking me when I was 7 years old. She would tell me I was the worst kid on the block, and I would never amount to anything. My dad would tell me I could never do anything right. And sports was a waste of time. He was kind of an electronic genius, always in the basement making things. September 6, 1941, my first day in junior high was demoralizing. I was assigned to 7A15. The principal, Mr. Stewart, barged into the room and said, "What is Doris Bruckbauer doing in 7A15? She belongs in 7A1. Doris was brilliant, the best student in the class. I figured it out. 7A1 was for the best students. 7A15 was for the worst. There was no 7A16. A week later, my 3-year-old kid brother passed away. We were very close. I lost interest in everything. Felt useless. 6 years later, a day in the early June 1947, my class from Valley Stream Central High School was graduating, and I wasn't. I was there watching the procession and playing pomp and circumstance on the tenor saxophone with a tear in my eye. I had flunked my major subject, shop and art. After the ceremony, Herb Williamson, my track coach, and the school's athletic director came over and asked me what I was going to do the rest of my life. Pump gas? I didn't answer him. He took me to the locker room in the back of the gym where the following took place. He said that Ray Bob Beauty, the 1928 Olympic 400-meter champion and a graduate of Syracuse University, had been following my running and watched me finish second in a 50.6 quarter mile at the Long Island Championships the week before. Mr. Bob Beauty felt that with the proper studies, Syracuse University would offer me an athletic scholarship. Herb told me that I was to enroll the following week in Central Summer School for classes in algebra and biology, and that I was to come back to Central for another year and take chemistry, trigonometry, and so on. I told him no way. I had received a 40 in algebra, had flunked biology, and a 35 in Spanish. I said, "You're crazy. I can't take those courses, I'm stupid." With that, he pushed me up against the lockers and said, "You're stupid because you think you are. You're going to study every night, and I'm going to call you at home to make sure you are. From November through March, you're going to take the B-Line bus and the subway to New York City 3 nights a week and practice on the indoor track at the New York Athletic Club and study on the way. You'll be in such fine shape that come next spring, you'll break 50 in the quarter, and if you do as I say, you'll get a 85 grade average or better. Wow. The next week, I came back to summer school. Herb did call me to make sure I was studying. I took the courses he told me to take. I ran 3 nights a week in New York. During the winter and when the snow left the ground in the spring of '48, I was in excellent shape. In the spring of '48, Herb pushed me hard in track practice, sometimes running me against the clock at night. On June 6, 1948, I set a New York State record in the 400, running a 49.8, becoming the first New York State schoolboy to break 50. When I broke the tape, I anticipated that Herb would throw his arms around me in joy at what we had done. Instead, he looked disturbed and said, "You slowed down the last 5 yards. You could have put that record away for years." I was afraid of Herb. I thought he loved me. No hug. But that was the way he coached. Never gave me a compliment. He knew enough not to. I did maintain a B+ average in my college entrance courses and graduated with the class of '48. Syracuse, someone else, by the way, played the tenor sax. But even with Bob Beauty's influence, Syracuse University was not convinced that I was college material. They stipulated I had to come to their summer school, get a B in both philosophy and economics, and pay for the courses myself. The next week I was in Syracuse. I got the 2 Bs. On September 1st, 1948, Syracuse University and Villanova both offered me 4-year full tuition room and board scholarship. I graduated from Syracuse in 1952 with a BA and went on to law school at George Washington University. In 1973, I visited Herb at his home soon after he had a stroke. He said, "Did we fool Mr. Johnson? He didn't think you could pass chemistry." Mr. Johnson was the chemistry teacher at the time. In 1983, I received the Alumnus of the Year from Syracuse University. And their award was for my volunteer activities as well. In 1984, as president of the Palm Beach, Florida Syracuse University Alumni Association, I invited Ray Bob Beauty to be my honored guest at our annual Valentine Ball. That night, we watched a film of Ray winning the 400 meters in the 1928 Olympics. I felt as though I had gone full circle. Thanks, Herb. Thanks, Ray. I love you guys. That experience taught me that anything can be done by anybody if they want to do it bad enough. And from that moment on, the word can't doesn't exist in my vocabulary. Never say can't. It doesn't become you.